Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Coffee with Chrisnatha. I am Chrisnatha DeRozier. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Be sure to invite a friend. If you are watching on Facebook, good morning. Say hello down in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. If you are joining me on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Chrisnatha. Good morning. Awesome. So today on Coffee with Chrisnatha, we're going to be talking about the choices of maturity. The choices of maturity. So in a nutshell, we'll be talking about maturity today. Not just any maturity, but spiritual maturity. So that's what we're going to be chatting about this morning. Now, with maturity, we're going to be focusing on the book of Hebrews, the book of Hebrews in the Bible, okay? Another book that I absolutely love. And so Apostle Paul, he's the author of the book of Hebrews. In this text that we're going to get into, the Apostle Paul, he is concerned. So he's concerned for his readers because they have not risen above the elementary teachings of the gospel. So he is worried, right, that they are still at the beginning stages. They haven't grown spiritually. They haven't grown spiritually. So the Apostle Paul has given them a stern rebuke. He sure did. Okay. He's given them a stern rebuke of spiritual immaturity. And our text is going to be Hebrews chapter 5, verses 11 through 14. Hebrews chapter 5, verses 11 through 14. The Apostle Paul wishes to instruct his readers regarding the solid food found in the fulfillment of the Melchizedek priesthood in the person and work of Jesus Christ. Okay, so let's get into Hebrews 5, verse 11 through 14. Now, I'm sure you guys know by now that I love the Message version. So we're going to be reading out of the Message translation. Hebrews chapter 5, verses 11 through 14. And it reads, I have a lot more to say about this, but it is hard to get across to you since you've picked up this bad habit of not listening. By this time, you ought to be teachers yourselves, yet here I find you need someone to sit down with you and go over the basics on God again, starting from square one. On baby's milk, when you should have been on solid food a long time ago. Milk is for beginners, inexperienced in God ways. Solid food is for the mature, who have some practice in telling right from wrong. Whew. Now, like I said, I absolutely love the Message version. And so that is the Apostle Paul, right? He is telling the people, he's letting them know that you should be on solid foods by now. You should have understanding of the basics by now. But here you are still on milk. Still on milk. You are at square one. And so if we are still on milk, we're at square one. It is time to eat solid food. It is time to eat solid food. Milk is for beginners. Say it with me for the people in the back. Milk is for beginners. This is not to mock anybody, not for anybody to be in your feelings. If you feel convicted, then this Coffee with Chrisnatha is just for you. Milk is for beginners. When you are inexperienced in God's ways, but solid food is for the mature. And how do we know we are mature? We have practice in telling right from wrong. Okay, that's Hebrews chapter 5, verses 11 through 14. All right, so let's talk about it. Okay, so one way to evaluate spiritual maturity is by looking at the choices we make. Apostle Paul, he notes that many of the ways these choices change with personal growth. Personal growth is important. All right. So it dictates, our growth determines rather what our decisions are going to be, right? So let's just talk about it. Let's look at a comparison. Mature choices versus immature choices. Okay. And once again, if any of this speaks to you and you're convicted, then I encourage you to take a hard look at your decision making, take a hard look at where you are in your walk. It could change. So it's not about beating yourself up. Conviction can be good, right? It means that change needs to take place. All right. So mature choices versus immature choices. A mature choice in your spiritual growth, right? Because that's what we're talking about, is teaching others. That's a mature choice rather than the immature choice, which is just being taught. I'm getting all of this good information for myself, and I have no interest in sharing it with other people, right? If that's how you feel, that's an immature choice. And so you want to have a mature choice, which is saying, I'm learning this amazing, amazing word. I'm being transformed from the inside out, and I want to teach and help and share with this with other people. That's a mature choice. All right. A mature choice is developing depth of understanding, developing a depth of understanding rather than an immature choice, which is struggling with the basics. What are the basics? The basics are to pray. The basics are to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Those are the basics, right? But we can't stay there. We must progress. We must grow. Even a baby, an actual baby, for all the mamas on the line, for even a baby, there are stages in ages, right? Start off with milk, whether it's formula or you're breastfeeding your child, right? And so start off there. Then you start introducing more food. Then you introduce solid food, right? Why? Because your child is growing, your child is developing, and that is a natural progression. It's a natural progression. And so for all of you and myself, right? Because this is about all of us, we should have a natural progression in our walk with the Lord. And if we find ourselves stuck, it's not over. It's not over. If you feel that, man, I've been stuck for a little bit, or I kind of feel like I lost my way, whatever the case is, it's not over. You're actually hearing this today because it's meant to grab your attention so that you can what? Do something. So that you can make it a mature choice, which is what? Applying what you're learning this morning, right? Okay, so let's keep going. A mature choice, another mature choice is self-evaluation, sitting down and saying, let me evaluate myself, my life, my walk, my heart, my intention, my thoughts. Let me evaluate myself, not continue to blame other people, but to sit down and look at me. Okay, so self-evaluation is a mature choice. Self-criticism is actually an immature choice because you're criticizing yourself, but what comes after that? You can't just have a pity party or beat yourself up and just that's it, right? You still have to be kind to yourself. You can't just speak very ill of yourself to yourself. What are the thoughts? What are the words? What is the conversation you're having about you? So don't just criticize yourself and just stop there, but evaluate yourself, evaluate your life. Self-criticism can look like, I am a bad person. Self-evaluation can look like, I've made a bad choice, right? I've made bad choices. I'm not necessarily a bad person, right? And so it's important that we sit down and evaluate where we are. We do that for our goals. We do that for the benchmarks and milestones that we want to meet for work, our careers, in our business. Let's do that for our lives, for our spiritual walk, for our soul, right? Let's do some self-evaluation. Another mature choice is seeking unity rather than promoting disunity. Some of us love to see people not getting along. We love to see division. We love to see discord. That is not of God. That's immature. So if you enjoy that, if you promote that, if you have a hand in that, it's time to grow up. That's immature. That's milk. That's milk talking, right? And so it's important to seek unity. How can we make this work? How can we reconcile this situation? How can we make sure that we are promoting unity in our own lives, in our own families? Doesn't mean you have to be BFFs. We know that some relationships are toxic, and I'm never going to encourage you to be in a toxic situation. But how can you seek unity? Because everybody can't be canceled. Everybody can't be a hater. Everybody can't be trying to get at you, right? And so it's important that we seek unity versus promoting disunity. All right. Our next mature choice is careful study and observation. Careful study and observation. So you are taking in information, you are learning to understand, you are observing, right? And you are studying carefully. All right, rather than an immature choice, which is opinions and half-hearted efforts. If you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to show up, really show up. If you're going to commit, really commit, right? If you're going to serve, really serve. Don't be half-hearted with your efforts. Another mature choice is active faith. Active faith rather than cautious apathy and doubt. Another mature choice is confidence. Confidence rather than fear. That's a mature choice. It takes maturity to operate in confidence, and it takes courage too. It takes courage too, because courage is a muscle. So you have to exercise that thing. You have to build it up. You have to do it when you don't want to. You have to exercise when you don't want to. Why? Because you will start to build that muscle. And do not operate in fear, because that's not a spirit that God wants us to live or walk in. Another mature choice is feelings and experiences evaluated in the light of God, rather than experiences evaluated according to feelings. Our feelings can get us in some serious trouble. We cannot put all of our trust, all of our hope, or lean on our feelings. Why? Because our feelings change. So you want to make sure you're evaluating your experiences and how you feel in the light of God, not simply by how you feel. It's really important. Another mature choice is desiring spiritual challenges rather than desiring entertainment. If you constantly just want to be entertained, that's an immature feeling, an immature thought, an immature choice. But a mature choice is desiring spiritual challenges. So I just wanted to share some of those contrasts with you so that you can have an idea when we're talking about spiritual maturity and immaturity, so that you have an idea of what that looks like, right? For both sides. And so how do we know that we are becoming spiritual mature, whether or not we're spiritual mature or not? How do we know? By looking at the choices we make. And so I'm inviting you to take a few moments this morning before you get really, really busy. Take a few moments today and look at the choices that you make. Be accountable. This is not about blaming anybody. This is about taking accountability and embracing the fact that a lot of the situation or where we are, whatever that looks like for you, is a result of the decisions that we've made or the decisions that we chose not to make, right? And so look at the choices that you've made. I've been looking at the choices that I make, and I've been asking myself the same question. What does this decision reveal about me? And so I invite you to ask yourself that same question. What are these choices? What do they reveal about me? Where I am in my life, my faith in God, how I feel about myself. What is being revealed in the decisions and the choices that I make? Right? That's not the only way to evaluate your spiritual maturity, but that's one way. Okay? Personal growth, personal development. That is key. That's important. So I want you to take some time, do a self-evaluation, do a heart check. This is not about beating yourself up. Do not allow the enemy to have you sitting here wallowing all day about things that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's not what this is about. This is about being clear about what things are, getting out of our feelings, and making a choice to grow. So I pray that you were super blessed by today's topic, the choices of maturity. So guys, thank you for hanging out with me this morning. Be sure to share this with a friend. I really, really pray that it blessed you and that it blesses somebody else. All right, guys. So I'll leave you with this. It's time for all of us to grow up. Happy growing. I'm Chrisnatha. I will see you again really, really soon. And until then, be well.